All righty then. I hate to break up any conversation, but it is 9:20, which is when Amaret told me to start. I'm kind of doing some sharing responsibility here. So I'll call to order the meeting of the Building and Operating Committee of Thursday, July 25. Before we begin, please note the meeting is being recorded. Welcome to everyone joining us here in person, as well as those listening in on the phone. If you would like to provide public comment at today's meeting, and if you've not already done so, please let Thomas in the back of the room know, there he is, or Justine on the call-in line on which items you would like to speak today. Madam Secretary, please begin by calling the roll.
Thank you, and good morning again, everyone. We're going to start with Director Conroy, who's absent. Giudice.
Here.
Maston.
Here.
Parr.
Present.
Present. Rabbit. Absent. Terrio.
Here.
Vice Chair Rodoni.
Here.
Chair Garbarino.
Here.
And President Cochran.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum, and you also are a committee of the whole. In the room, we also have Directors Grosboll, Hernandez, Hill, Moulton Peters, Snyder, and Thier.
Thank you again, Amaret. Please follow along, everyone, by referring to the page numbers located on the bottom right-hand corner of your meeting packet. And we will begin with agenda item number 3, which is to approve actions relative to award of contract number 2024 B057, Security and Traffic Control Services to State of California Department of CHP, California Highway Patrol. The staff report begins on page 3, and Dave Rivera is here to present the report. Dave, please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you, Chair Garbarino and members of the committee. I'm David Rivera, Deputy General Manager of Bridge Division. The recommendation before you is the building and operating is for contract number 2024B057, Security and Traffic Control Services to the State of California, Department of California Highway Patrol as follows. Approve an award of contract number 2024B057 with the State of California, Department of California Highway Patrol to provide security and traffic control services, including physical law enforcement support and visible presence in and around the Golden Gate Bridge parking lots for a 1-year term with 2 one-year option terms for a total amount not to exceed $450,000. 2, to authorize the general manager or their designee to approve amendments to the contract to allow for future year renewal after the 1-year base term and 2-year, 1-year option terms, provided that funding has been allocated in the annual budget and such renewals are in the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District's best interest. This matter will be presented to the Board of Directors at its July 26, 2024 meeting for appropriate. So summary, so the California Streets and Highways Code is basically what is designated the district. Section 27179 authorizes the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District to contract with the state for highway patrol officers to provide patrol for the district. On January 4, 2023, the district entered contract number 2022B118, Security and Traffic Control Services with the State of California, CHP. This contract allowed the district to enter into a reimbursable services agreement for police services with the CHP. Contract number 2022B118, Security and Traffic Control Services, was budgeted for a not to exceed amount of $240,000 with the general manager's approval. Given that the funds for this contract are almost depleted, a new contract is being proposed. CHP officers would be in marked patrol units and/or a combination of marked, unmarked units to provide assistance through detection and apprehension of individuals committing auto burglaries in the surrounding parking lots at the Golden Gate Bridge. In the event marked CHP units observe any suspicious activities or crimes in progress, they will notify Golden Gate Division Communication Center of the information, including number of suspects, suspect and vehicle descriptions, license plate number, activity observed, and direction of travel. This patrol would occur during peak times hours of visitors, tourists at the Golden Gate Bridge. CHP will serve as the case investigators and will handle all reports generated. Over the last several years, the number of burglaries, California Penal Code Section 459, has dramatically increased in the Bay Area cities. Penal Code Section 459 also includes auto burglaries. the Golden Gate Bridge surrounding parking lots have also seen an increase in auto burglaries. From 2018 to 2023, the district has generated the following incident reports for auto burglaries. In 2018, there was 38 incidents. In 2019, that's 111 incidents. In 2020, 63. 2021, 91. 2022, 43. 2023, 43. While criminal acts continue to occur in the Bay Area, including the Golden Gate Bridge, we are seeing a decreased number of incident reported auto burglaries. CHP's visible and physical presence at the Golden Gate Bridge, coupled with our bridge patrols and increased signage in surrounding parking lots, likely deters auto burglaries and can provide an environment in which the public can feel safer. And I want to add to this that we work with our allied agencies to include, in this immediate vicinity, United States Park Police, as we're on federal land, National Park Service law enforcement rangers, CHP, and occasionally SFPD. Their numbers have also gone up. So these, when I talk about these incidents, these are only district generated incidents. The fiscal impact. This is a reimbursable contract based on usage. Over the past 2 years, it is estimated $180,000 was used for this service. Depending on the need and usage of this contract, the fiscal impact is estimated not to exceed $450,000 over 3 years. This will be funded in FY 2024-2025 bridge division operating budget and budgeted accordingly in future years' budget. Thank you all. This concludes my presentation. I am able to answer any and all questions. I can say that we have seen a decrease, and this is a very positive impact by having those physical patrols in and around the bridge. If you come through our parking lots, you can generally see, and we're not the only location that's dealing with it. We've increased our signage everywhere we possibly can. And we make sure that, you know, a visible presence, it makes the general public feel safe.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, I too noticed them when we had the suicide deterrent celebration. So they are evident, which is great. And sadly, they're needed. And thanks again for the presentation. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Presentation did.
Dave, is this primarily the parking lot down where the gift center is in that area, or does it also include the parking lot where the staff and the board parks?
Yes, sir. So we will do the east lot where the welcome center is. We will do our employee lot, the upper west lot, and Vista Point and Dillingham. So it's actually, when you look at it from atmospheric, it's 1, 2, 3, it's like 5 parking lots that they generally patrol around the north end and south end.
The challenge is, you know, people are creatures of habit. If you, as a larcenous individual, have a really positive experience at a tourist destination, you learn pretty quickly that tourists may have thousands of dollars cash on them, lots of electronics. And so our staff deals with responding people who are on their way to the airport to stop by the bridge. They lose everything, including their passports, and they're supposed to catch a plane. So it's something that we felt very strongly we need to help address. And so that's why we contracted with CHP to bring additional resources to help, you know, reduce the impact of visitors to the bridge.
Yes, Jim.
Do we use CCTV at all in any of these locations?
So we have bridge security cameras. When you say CCTV, can you define that more?
Well, video cameras that, you know.
So we work with our partner agencies, and they have certain types of cameras that we use. Ours is bridge security cameras for us, and we will share that information when we work with local law enforcement entities.
And is that part of the signage as well, that people can see that we use that, we use those there?
We don't, I mean, that we have cameras in place.
Yeah.
No, we to say that we have cameras in place, no, but they're out there and people can see them in full public view.
We capture video when there's instances. Our cameras do not read license plates. We have an extensive security system around the bridge. People usually are committing these crimes using stolen plates on a vehicle, and they typically are committing it wearing something that covers their face. And so it's a limited tool, and a physical presence seems to be the best. Our partners also use some technology, though, to identify stolen plates on vehicles. And that is something that's very helpful because then they know when there's someone in the area. I know Sausalito does that. When you drive into Sausalito, if you have a stolen vehicle, dispatch is notified. And some of our partners are starting to use that technology around the bridge also, which is very helpful in reducing the number of instances like this.
I just wondered if maybe it was better known or better signed, that signage was better, that there was, potentially video cameras, that it might be yet another level of deterrent.
Yeah, as Dennis said, a lot of these individuals, most of the vehicles that we see are stolen license plates. So even if we get that, the criminals have a lot of time on their hands to figure out ways to deal with these type of things, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Reimbursable, does that mean if you don't use it, it comes back, or do we get reimbursed by the state?
So what happens is the way it would work is CHP would bill us and then we would pay them accordingly.
Okay.
So if we pay them by the hour.
Yeah.
So if they're not here, we don't pay them. If they're here a lot, we pay them more. And our staff works with them in terms of the need and their staff available.
Anyone else with questions? No? That concludes our discussion on item number 3, but I have to admit I'm a student of all things Dennis. Larcenous individual. That is a great phrase. I keep writing down what he said. But before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
We have no speakers for this item.
Thank you. May I have a motion then on agenda item number 3?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you again. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Let the record show there's no opposition on the motion and it passes. We will now continue on to item number 4, which is an informational monthly report on board appointees on the Sonoma-Marin Area Rail Transit Board. And I'll start that report off, but I'm ever grateful always to my dear friend Barb, who has helped me with a synopsis as well. And if anyone's interested, I do have a board summary from meeting June 18, agenda item general manager's report July 17. And evidently I really like printing out paper. I also have the entire packet from June 18 and happy to share. But the highlights, and I did note how you talked very positively about the return post-COVID of all the ridership. SMART has too been enjoying a resurrection, if you will, which is wonderful. But to be quite honest, it had nowhere to go but up from before. So the average weekday ridership for May was 28% over May of last year and 26% over pre-COVID. June, much the same, 21% and 31%. And Smart Ridership Monthly in May was 31% higher of, I'm not really sure what, but it's all good news. Which was, by the way, a monthly record. So including the Marin County Fair, which was 77% higher than last year, which is all good. Because those of you that have gone to any fair know what it's like when you try to get there from here. You can't quite. So the traffic can be something. Also of note, on July 17th, the contract to Square Signs to install system-wide pathway funding signage by the end of this year took place. The vote was done on that. Pengrove Pathway is being surveyed. The Windsor extension is underway and pathway grading is also underway. And what will they think of next? Thanks to Barb, Petaluma Bike Fix-It Station has been put into place. So all good. Several of us can autograph this and give it to one of the two of you. How's that? Yeah, all good. I talked about ridership and my other notes here. The budget was also adopted at our June 18th meeting, obviously, and that is it. And Barb and I, mostly Barb, are willing to answer any of your questions. And Barb, you had this Marin Sonoma Transit Coordination July update with all the logos. All good? Cooperation and coordination.
I believe that that's the one that Stephanie Moulton Peters serves on the board of that. So that was why I put that in there, because I think we need to acknowledge the heavy lifting that Stephanie's doing on behalf of the bridge, as well as Marine Transit, as well as SMART. She wears all of those hats.
Barbara, you were very kind. I was a guest interloper at that meeting, sitting next to Dennis. But I did go with my MTC hat on, just to encourage everyone to work together to look at our 101 corridor service and see what we could do to make it efficient and rider focused, so we can be a model for the rest of the Bay Area. So, thank you for that.
Great. All good. I should also mention that there was a report at the last board meeting on freight rail, and on the shuttle is working and is installed in its service at the station in Larkspur. So with that, that's the conclusion of this item. Before we move on, though, is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on our SMART report, item number 4?
We have no speakers on this item.
Jim has a
Oh.
question.
There was an article in the Press Democrat last week about narrowing of the navigation channel in the Petaluma River under the railroad bridge. And I was wondering if because of accidents, and I was wondering if those accidents have had any impact on SMART service.
I'll take it. We talked a little bit about that. The SMART service at that particular location is mostly freight. There's no passenger service at all that goes across that. That particular swing bridge, I guess you call it, has historically been hit by ferries and people that go up and down there. So yes, it has been hit again. You know, you wonder why they put it there in the first place. Evidently, the rumor is it used to be a river or a creek, and then they turned it into a river, and then they turned it into a slough. And yeah, we do talk about it. There's not much you can do if the pilots of the barges aren't very accurate. And if you go on the website under the general manager report, there are some telling pictures of the state of disrepair of that particular bridge crossing. I don't know what you call it, swing bridge, I call it, but it's a bridge that turns so that whenever they need it, it turns around, and then when they don't need it, it supposedly opens the channel. But anyway, you should look at the pictures. I mean, it's a mess. And the more they hit it, the messier it gets, and it's hard to get back in there and fix it, but we do the best we can.
If I may, the Bridge District used to own the railroad right away when SP abandoned it. And then when Smart passed a ballot measure, we had the opportunity to give them at no cost the right of way. So
The Golden Gate Bridge.
and a former,
Has historically been
during that
kind to
period of
Smart.
time, I was the chief engineer for the district. And so we did several repairs on it when it got struck multiple times. Typically, as Director Parr said, it's a gravel or sand barge that's got a small tug pushing it, trying to go with the current that's sometimes underpowered that would hit the bridge and cause damage. It's a fascinating structure. You row out in a boat, a little rowboat to get to it. You climb up on the bridge, and then on top, there's a control room where there's an engine from like a 1958 Chevy pickup truck that's been modified to run off propane. You have at least back in the day, a few years ago, a 5-gallon thing of propane, like for your barbecue. Okay. You fire it up and it would rotate the bridge and do the interlocks. And it's worth looking at sometime. But it is a bridge that hasn't had robust investments. The Bridge District did whatever it could to minimize how much money it spent maintaining the right of way. And then we gave it to Smart. But it gets hit a lot.
Okay, Dutra used to hit it. Now we have new hitters. So.
Okay, that's another one. Has not had robust investments. That's good. That one's good too. Any of our other directors who have comments or questions, or anyone from the public?
We have no speakers from the public.
Okay. As you all know, there is no action required for item number 4, so we'll continue on to item number 5, which is the status report on engineering projects. The staff report begins on page 7, and I understand that John is not here today to present the report, but Dennis, do you have anything you'd like to add?
John will be available at tomorrow's board meeting to answer any questions. He had a commitment that he had to attend to this morning, so he could not be here, and he sends his regrets.
Okay. And thank you, Dennis, and thank you, colleagues. Do you have any questions of Dennis at this time? Otherwise, we'll hold our questions until tomorrow when John can be here. There's no action associated with that item. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on that item or address this committee under item number 6, which is public comment?
We are going to give Justine one more opportunity to pull the public comment line. So Justine, why don't you go ahead and pull your public comment line just in case. I know there's people jumping on and off on your line. So just in case someone wants to address the Building and Operating Committee.
Sure, thank you very much. Is there anyone new that's joined us that would like to speak this morning at DNO? Please use ** to unmute yourself and let me know. Hello? Okay, I'm not
Justine, are you
hearing
polling?
anybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I am polling, yes,
Thank you.
and we're done. Nobody would like to speak. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we've reached the end of the agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? So moved. Second?
Second.
Okay. Hearing no objections, I'm certain. This concludes the meeting of the Building and Operating Committee. Thank you, colleagues. The time is 9:42.